The hallway lights flickered faintly as the last bell of the day echoed across the school corridors. Most students rushed out in groups, chatting, laughing, living their teenage lives as if the world belonged to them. But not everyone shared in that carefree joy. Somewhere in the quieter corner of Ridgewood High, a girl sat on the wooden bench inside the locker room, tying her worn sneakers, her hands trembling not from the cold but from something heavier, fear, humiliation, and a memory she could never shake off. This wasn't just another school day for her. This was the day everything had changed, and the reason why she had planned something so precise, so unshakable, that it would force the bullies who once mocked her to leave this school forever. What happened that afternoon in the locker room wasn't just a violation of space, it was a violation of dignity, and she would never be the same again. Chapter 1 began with Mia Harper, a 16-year-old who had mastered the art of blending into the background. She wasn't invisible, but she felt like she lived in a shadow most days. Her family wasn't wealthy, her clothes came from thrift stores, and while she was intelligent, she lacked the social confidence that others seemed to be born with. Her closest companion was a journal she carried everywhere, the place where she poured her secrets, her anger, her hopes, and her pain. She was used to whispers behind her back, cruel notes stuffed into her locker, and fake laughs whenever she walked by. Yet nothing prepared her for what would happen one stormy afternoon. The locker room smelled faintly of chlorine from the nearby pool, and the dull hum of the heating vents was the only sound she heard as she changed after gym class. That's when the door swung open, too suddenly, too loudly. At first, she thought it was another girl, maybe someone who forgot their bag. But then came the laughter. Male laughter. 3 boys from the basketball team barged in, their sneakers squeaking against the tiled floor. The look on Maya's face froze, shock, horror, disbelief. They weren't supposed to be there. It was a sacred space, a place for safety, privacy. But to them it was just another stage for cruelty. They jeered, mocking her clothes, her body, her silence. One of them pulled out a phone, pretending to record, while the others joked about posting it online. Maya's chest tightened, her eyes burned, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly stripped of power. She grabbed her towel, clutching it like a shield, her voice lost in the wave of their taunts. When a teacher's footsteps echoed faintly outside, the boys bolted, leaving behind echoes of laughter that rang louder than the silence. That night, Mia lay awake, staring at the cracked ceiling of her bedroom. Her mom worked late shifts her father had left years ago. She had no one to tell, or at least she believed no one would care. Reporting them seemed useless. They were star athletes, adored by the school, and everyone knew the administration protected its golden boys. But deep inside, something shifted. A new fire burned where fear once lived. If no one would fight for her, she would fight for herself. Quietly, carefully, she began to plan. Her first step wasn't confrontation. Mia was too smart for that. Instead, she observed. She noticed patterns when the boys practiced, where they hung out, the jokes they made, even the way they used their phones carelessly. She started documenting everything. Screenshots, overheard conversations, tiny details others ignored. For weeks, she carried herself like nothing had happened. She even smiled sometimes, letting them believe they had broken her. But inside her, a quiet storm gathered strength. Chapter 2 unfolded like a chess match. Mia's revenge wasn't about fists or shouting. It was about precision. She knew exposing them would take more than just her word. She needed proof so undeniable that even the school board couldn't ignore it. So she waited, biding her time, until one evening after practice when the boys, careless and overconfident, left their phones unattended in the gym office. She didn't steal, but she had watched closely enough to know how to catch them. Through a clever move, convincing a tech-savvy friend who owed her a favor, she recovered screenshots of their private group chat. Messages full of bragging, even jokes about teaching girls lessons by invading their space, evidence clear as daylight. But Mia didn't just run to the principal. No, she went bigger. She sent anonymous emails to the school board, the superintendent, even local reporters, attaching the screenshots with dates, times, and detailed accounts. The story exploded before the boys even realized what had happened. Overnight, the school's golden athletes became a headline. High school players under investigation for locker room harassment. The backlash was swift and merciless. Parents demanded answers. The administration scrambled to cover up, but there was no denying the evidence. The boys, once cocky and untouchable, now walked the hallways with their heads down, faces pale, futures slipping through their fingers. By the time disciplinary hearings concluded, their scholarships were revoked, their reputations shattered, and the weight of public shame was too much to bear. Within weeks, all three had quietly transferred to other schools, their names whispered only as warnings of what arrogance and cruelty could cost. Mia, meanwhile, didn't gloat. She didn't strut or announce her victory. She carried herself with quiet strength, her eyes brighter than before, her shoulders straighter. When her classmates asked if she knew who leaked the evidence, she simply shrugged, keeping her secret safe. But deep down, she knew she had reclaimed something far more powerful than revenge: her dignity, her control, her sense of self. And in the end, Maya's story wasn't just about putting bullies in their place. It was about showing that even the quietest voices can roar when pushed too far. That intelligence, patience, and courage could do what fists never could: turn humiliation into power and fear into strength. Her calculated revenge wasn't born from hate, but from the undeniable truth that no one deserved to feel powerless in a place meant to be safe. And for every girl who had ever felt the same, Mia's quiet storm carried a message: you are never truly invisible, and one day you can rise too.